topic would be about your credit score and how is it actually calculated. So, you ever thought about your credit score? You've wondered how your credit score is doing, and if it's a low number or if it's a high number, which is what we want, right? We want a good high credit score because a good high credit score is going to be valuable for you, for your family, for your future. It's going to enable you to have buying power. A good credit score and a good profile actually is going to enable you to have buying power on so many, such as purchasing a home, purchasing a vehicle, maybe starting a new business if that's something that you're interested in. It's going to give you buying power to get a loan, maybe a student loan, or maybe a loan for your family for home improvement, or just any type of money that you need to acquire because you need some funding for any type of reasons. A good credit score and a good profile is going to give you that opportunity to benefit you and your family in the future. Now, a low credit score is going to prevent that. It's going to give you a hard time borrowing the money that you need because let's be honest, if you're going to buy a home nowadays, I mean, they're so expensive. Um, I don't know. Let's say you wanted to buy a $400,000 house and you don't have $400,000. Well, not many people do. So you may have some money to put down as a down payment. And typically, the down payment you're going to want for a home is going to be about 20% to avoid any homeowners insurance. PMI. So if you can put down 20%, well, that's going to be a big chunk of money. 80%, 20%. That's going to be, I don't know, anywhere 60, $80,000 to get into a home. So you're going to need to borrow money because you may or may not have $400,000 to actually put down to buy a brand new house. So a good credit score is going to give you that buying power to receive a loan. That's exactly what it's going to be doing for you. And not only to be approved for a loan, it's going to give you that buying power so that you can have a good interest rate. Now, that's the two elements you want. You want to have the ability to borrow money, but you also want to have the ability to receive this loan at a good interest rate. So let's talk about how is your credit score actually calculated. Well, there's a few factors, and you may or may not know. It's kind of one of those unknown things. It's not advertised anywhere. It's you gotta search for it. You gotta look deep and see how does these credit bureaus calculate certain material, certain numbers to actually know what your credit score is. Well, let's go ahead and just go through the elements that it takes to come up with your credit score if you're not aware of that. So there's basically 5 elements. And one of the elements is your payment history. That's one of the most important elements that make up your credit score. So your payment history, this is going to, when a creditor or a lender pulls up your credit report, they're going to look at all of your history. They're going to look at your past and see how have you been managing your payment history. And if you've been managing it well, then you're going to have a pretty good credit score because your payment history is 35% of your overall credit score. So credit score is going to be from anywhere from 300 to 850, and that's going to be, if you're in 800s, that's excellent. But most people are in the average. The national average is about 680. That's an average national average credit score. And so just so you know, there's 5 elements, and we just talked about the first element. The first element is your payment history. That's 35%. That makes up 35% of your credit score, your payment history. How have you been managing your your credit in the past? Now, the second element that they're going to look that makes up your credit score is your credit utilization. Your credit utilization. Now, this is 30% of your credit score. Now, what that means is, let's say, I'm just going to make it simple. Let's say you had a credit card that has a $10,000 balance, okay? And 30% of $10,000 is going to be $3,000. So if your creditor gives you a credit card for $10,000, you can use all of it. They'll allow you to use it. However, at the end of the month, because your credit gets reported to the bureaus once a month, and at the end of the month, if you're under 30%, like under $3,000, then that's going to show good. It's going to show good on your credit report. If you have a $10,000 card and you've maxed it out, and then it reports to the bureau that you've maxed it out, well, that's going to hinder your credit score. It's going to bring it down because you've exceeded that utilization rate. So every month, you just want to be aware of, check your credit cards if you have any, take a look at what the limit is, and make sure you're under the 30% threshold every month. And if you do that for a longevity, for long periods of time, for months, it's going to start boosting up your credit score, because you can use your credit card and then you pay it back down. You use your credit card and you pay it back down. And if you keep it under 30%, then you're gonna look good, and you're gonna start boosting up your credit score. If you're always over, like let's say you have a $10,000 credit card and your balance every month is 8,000, 9,000, back to 8,000, back to 9,000, your 80% utilization rate, it's going to bring down your credit score, and it's going to be hard to get it back up. So you want to bring your credit utilization down. So you're going to have to just look at your finances and kind of see where you're at and make sure that you're under 30%, because that 30%, because credit utilization is 30% of your credit score. Now, the number 3 factor in what makes up your credit score is going to be the length of credit history. Now, this is sometimes a little bit difficult to maintain or to actually acquire, because if you're a young one, maybe you're just coming out of college and you get your first credit card and you only have a couple of years under your belt, well, that's okay. It's just a good start. But if you're, if you've had credit, maybe loans or mortgages over a long period of time, that actually could be a benefit if you've managed it well. So if you have a car note for several years and you've managed it well, that's good. That's going to give you some points. If you have a mortgage and you've managed it well, paid off your loan, paid off your monthly payment regularly, then you've managed it well. If you have any type of other loan, whether it be like a home improvement loan, some type of construction loan, or a business loan, well, if you just manage credit over the years, it's going to look good if you've managed it well. So that's your credit history your length of credit history is 15%, right? So we went over payment history is 35%, credit utilization is 30%, length of your credit history is 15%. So another type of credit, another factor that makes up your credit score is the types of credit. So a credit card is not the only credit type, right? There's other types. So you want to have a credit card if you can get one. You want to have a credit card and manage it well. That's going to be one type. If you have a mortgage, then you want to manage that well because someone borrowed you money. Then that's another type. If you have another type of a loan, maybe like a home improvement loan, or maybe a big department store loan of some sort. If you have those type of loans, then that's another type of credit. So the different types of credit that you have, then if you manage those well, that's going to also boost up your credit. So you don't only want to have a credit card. I mean, if at the beginning stages of building credit, that's fine. But in time, if you can have like a car note and then also a mortgage, and you're managing these 3 different types of credit well at the same time, then you're gonna look good because you can manage different types of credit at different types, and so that's going to show the other creditors in your history that, hey, this gentleman or this lady, she can manage her credit well. She can he or she has different types of credit and is paying them off pretty well, payments. So it's going to look strong, and that's going to be 15%, which is a type of a credit. So another type, the 5th element that's going to make up your credit score is actually new credit. Now, I know that's kind of hard to manage, to maybe understand, but if you have new credit once in a while, that's going to be 10% that makes up your credit score. So let's say you have a mortgage and you only have a mortgage. Well, that's only one type of credit, and that's your only type. So you're not well rounded. It kind of hinders your score a little bit. But if you have different types of credit, that's better. Now, if you only have a mortgage or a car note and you go years and years and years and don't open up another credit line, then you're not establishing new credit. And that actually can hinder you, believe it or not, because that's 10% of your score. So in time, you want to be able to get some type of credit, manage it well, utilize it, pay it down, utilize it again, pay it down, and then also get maybe in time, a year from now, another year from now, get another type of credit. Utilize it, pay it down, utilize it, pay it down, and then maybe what a lot of people do is they'll get a lease, right, of a car. So you can lease a car, and that shows that you're paying, you're having management skills, money skills. You go for like a 3-year lease on a car, pay that for 3 years. Well, that's by that time 3 years are over. That's an old, because an old credit. Well, you turn your car back in, and you get a new car. Now you just established a whole new lease, so that's new credit. So do you see how that works? So if you just continuously open an account, I don't know, every so often, every couple of years or so, it's going to show that you can manage old credit, and then you can manage new credit, and that's 10% of your credit score. Now, I know that's contrary to trying to not take credit, not use credit, if you're trying to do a debt-free life. I understand that, but I'm just sharing with you how they calculate the numbers to gain your credit score. I'm just sharing with that. So you can look online, you can see this like a wheel, and they'll say 35%, and then 30%, and then 15%, 10%, and the last one is 10%, which is new credit. So if you like leasing cars, that's actually going to boost your credit, because if you can lease a car from a car manufacturer, manage your money, pay off the lease on a regular basis as you're supposed to, and then you turn in the car, and then you get a new car, then you have a new line of credit, and then that's going to boost your score, believe it or not. So if you never take out credit, then it's actually going to hinder you, and yeah, believe it or not, it's going to hinder you if you're trying to boost your credit score. So you want to have evolving types of credit on your profile. You want to have different types of credit so that it can help you to establish a good credit score. And if you have a good credit score, then wow, yeah, you can really do wonders. I mean, you can take out loans, you can buy the house that you want with confidence, you can get the dream car that you want, you can maybe get a business loan so that you can start that small business that you've been wanting. So you want to just take a look at your credit report, see what's on it, and make sure that you have this well-roundedness of credit if you're trying to boost your credit score. So those are the key elements. There's the 5 elements that they take into consideration to boost up your credit score. And like I said, I know it's kind of contrary to the living debt-free that we normally hear about. Now, that's a different avenue of living if that's the route you want to go. If you want good credit so you can borrow from agencies that are willing to lend you money, because they're out there, they're willing to lend you money, then you have a little bit more buying power to do the things that you want to do. Like I said, which is I mean, the sky's the limit. If you have a good credit, the sky's the limit. And if you want to maintain that, if you can maintain that, then it'll provide a benefit for you and your family in the future. Now, at the same time, you got to be careful, because a lot of people fall into being negligent on their credit. If you are not managing your credit well, then it can be detrimental to your life. I mean, I've met people, my clients call me because sometime in the past they've either managed their money wrongly or they just neglected their credit, and now they're in a pickle. Now they're in the hole, and they see that they really do need good credit, because what's happening is your credit profile, your credit score is becoming more and more necessary for certain things in life, whether we like it or not. So here's a situation, for example. If you're, a lot of employers are actually looking at their potential employees to see if they have good credit. And I know that seems contrary. You would think, well, shouldn't they just hire me for my ability to do the job and do the job well? And I agree with that. However, we're in a society now that, your background means a lot and how you manage who you are. And what's happening is there's a lot of employers that are actually not just checking your background check, because that's kind of common, but they're actually checking your credit to see if, first of all, your background check is to see if you're a criminal or not. But a credit check is going to see if you can manage, if you're a good manager of your time and your money. And those are the kind of people that employers seem to be, that's the kind of people that they want to hire. And so whether we're ready for it or not, that's becoming more common for employers to do background checks. And not only that, if you're renting, or if you're thinking about renting an apartment, I've been noticing a lot of apartments lately are also doing background checks, but not just background checks. They're doing credit checks for potential clients into the apartment complex. And I've had several calls from my clients that have contacted me and mentioned to me that they're noticing this trend that apartment complexes have been checking their credit check just to get them in to apply for a rental, to apply to be a renter in an apartment complex. So be aware of that. So again, like if you are just looking to understand how credit works and how your credit score is calculated, you just want to make sure that you understand where these numbers are coming from and how they get these numbers. So 35% of your credit score is your payment history. So if you can just remember that, it's your payment history. So you want to have a good payment history. The number two reason, again, I'm just going over this so that we can review what we've talked about, is your credit utilization. That's 30%. Credit utilization is 30% of your credit score. And 15% of your credit score is the length of credit, your length of credit history, how long you've had credit. That's 15%. And then 10% of your credit score is the types of credit, the different types of credit that you have had or that you actually have at the current state. They want to see that. That's 10%. And then the last factor, which is another 10%, is new credit, right? How much do you acquire new types of credit? That's going to be 10% of your overall credit score. So your credit score is made up because of these numbers. Now, there's other things that show up on your credit report, such as your name, your previous addresses, previous places that you've worked. Those are other things that show up on your credit report, but your credit score is made up of these 5 items. And you want to just be aware of that, because if you're aware of that, then you'll be knowledgeable to know the things that make up those elements so that you can boost your credit, right? If you're consistent with making payments, well, that's going to be your payment history, and that's going to help boost your credit. If you're inconsistent with making payments, then it's going to bring your credit score down. So those are the things to be aware of. Now, if you need help with any of your credit, if you have bad credit, if you are in jeopardy of maybe not getting approved of a loan of some sort, you can look me up down below. My information down below. I offer a free credit ebook. You can download it for free. The link is below. And then you can also go to my website if you need consultation of any sort pertaining to credit and finances. You can schedule an appointment. You can contact me. We help people in many different ways. People of all different walks, that we can get them from a low number to a high number. And I do appreciate you watching this video. I thank you so much. I'm kind of a young channel, but I've been around for a while. But my YouTube channel is kind of young, and I'm really enjoying these live streams. I think it flows out of my mouth a little bit better than cutting and pasting and editing. So I think I'm going to do these a little bit more often. And I appreciate you joining and watching. If you've watched it this far, thank you so much. And if you wouldn't mind, just please go to my YouTube channel and please like it and subscribe. And I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And stay tuned for next week. I mean, tomorrow, because we're going to do another live version with a new topic, all based on finances and your credit. So once again, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. And I hope you have a good night and God bless you.